It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
I'm happy to be here too.
I'm Hasanika. I'm the outreach coordinator for Arts in the Park.
Pleased to meet you.
I am Nicholas. I
Hello,
am
Nicholas.
her assistant, basically.
Hello, assistant Nicholas. I wish I had a cool blue Arts in the Park t-shirt like you guys did.
So before we get started, I guess why don't you introduce yourself and kind of give us a bit of a rundown on who Jesse really is.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm Jesse, also known as Jazzy Jester. Been a b-boy for like 26 years now, something like that, give or take. Yeah, I've been dancing for that long. Professionally, I've been dancing for almost 20 years, taking me all over the world. I've competed, I've traveled, I've performed, I've done stage, I've done theater, I've done film, I've done TV, music videos, yada, yada, yada. All the things that like a lot of break dancers do. But that's me in a nutshell. I'm a dancer, but also been doing art all my life actually. So trying to work on that at the moment. Sorry, I think that might be a plane. If you can hear that, I'm by the airport. I'm also in Moncton, New Brunswick right now. So
that's awesome.
I'm coming live from New Brunswick, from the East Coast.
The beauty of Zoom, honestly.
What's that?
The beauty of Zoom, inter-province interviews.
I know.
Does the B in B-boy stand for like break dancing? Or
well, it stands for break.
Okay.
It stands for break. I mean, in its most original essence and original form, the break boys and the break girls were the ones that were obviously at the parties to throw down only during the breaks of a song. So like whenever the DJ would run the break of a song, in the beginning it was like a 15-20 second like interval that all these dancers had to like get down and like go crazy. And that's the only time they would get down. So they were called the break boys or the break girls because they would only get down to the breaks. But it was also like breaking from the norm and, you know, just like any annotation that like the word break can form itself into. So
I think that's really representative of art, really. It's breaking from the norm and
for sure,
finding your own way and doing your own thing. Which is actually a good segue because you just mentioned that you've traveled around the world before, worked with a multitude of different people. We specifically would like to know, what is your working relationship like with Parks and Rec? And you can also talk about your experience with Rolling With, if you'd like.
Sorry, with who?
With
I'm joking.
You're good. You're
You're
good.
like keeping us on our toes.
Hey,
Yeah.
What?
Hey.
You're funny.
Parks and Rec, I've known Emily, Christine, and Sarah for like a long time. I've known Emily the longest. Back in the day when she was B-Girl Eclipse, which a lot of people don't know that she was a B-Girl back in the day. And we started like, that was like early 2000s. And we've had a really awesome relationship since then. And then, enter Christine and Sarah, and then like their formation into this collaboration, and then Parks and Rec happens. And they're just really good friends of mine. And, you know, I love dancing with them. They're amazing people and amazing dancers and amazing artists. And, you know, I like surrounding myself with amazing people. So here I am with you two.
Yeah. Funny how things work out.
Funny, right? What was the other that there was like a two-parter with Parks and Rec? Rolling With.
Yeah, filming Rolling With.
Oh yeah, not comfortable at all. Like going around filming myself in a selfie view was not a thing I do. So it was challenging, but it was fun because I knew it was for like the girls and like whoever else might be watching, like you guys and stuff like that. But it was interesting. It was an interesting little project that I was doing.
Well, we really loved Rolling With. I know we like got a chance to speak with like the Parks and Rec team and really like be part of like that planning process with them. Or not really, like they were talking to us like as they were planning it. And I think what I loved most about it was it's so important to like really document and immortalize what it was like being an artist in a pandemic, you know, just because like it was so unexpected and we were so unprepared, and it's such a trying time for artists. It's I think it's difficult being an artist regardless, but like a pandemic on top of that, that's for viewers, whenever this goes out, like Jesse is also a very talented visual artist, right?
I try.
Well, we think you're talented, and
thank you.
For sure, like you should go check out his page.
I was just interested in how do you stay inspired while being at home and also being an artist and trying to find different methods of being creative. I know I face that issue.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something that's always been like, for me in Toronto, like I was also like into photography and like all this stuff, and you just have to really surround yourself with the people that like will inspire you. And because all my friends were inspirational, it was kind of, not that it was running dry for me, but it was just like a norm for me to be around all these creatives and all these artists that I just took it for granted, you know what I mean? And then once I was out of it, and being in London, I was also working from home. We got a dog, and like I had to take care of him during the day while my wife was at work. So there was that, trying to get over the hump of the mentality of trying to get inspired. For me, I don't know if I was reading something or if I like was watching a video, but like there was something that stuck to me about like habits. And they were talking about bad habits and like, just, you know, when you get older and all this stuff, you tend to have all these habits. And I'm like, I definitely have bad habits. I know all of us do, but it's all about like creating new habits. So I was like, okay, I got to create some new habits. I was always making an excuse. You know, I'm almost 42. And like, I was going through like, oh, my knees are rickety. My back is rickety. You know, I can't do the things I used to be able to do. My energy is not the same. But those are like coming out from bad habits of thinking. So I had to create a new habit of positive thinking amongst like being in this pandemic, but like just starting new routines, new things like that, and to get myself inspired. So I just started new things for myself and made sure that I stuck with it. Yeah, for me, it's always been hard for me to find inspiration. And I feel like with the pandemic, it's given me a clear, like, you know, especially with my wife too, she started her own business, and I'm seeing how she's working and what she's doing with her stuff. And I'm like, I got to keep going too with my stuff and not be so down on myself when it comes to trying to find inspiration with anything creative.
I think it's a mantra that we all should try to follow as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just going to say. I feel like a lot of people think like breaking habits is more of like a physical thing. Like, you know, like if you want to quit smoking, you just quit smoking. And they tend to like not focus on like the mental part that goes behind that. So being like we're conscious of like thought processes and like changing that, I think that's super important and a good reminder.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you're really moving like towards like being more inspired by what's around you than who's around you. But do you find like with this shift, with the pandemic, a lot of artists have moved online, you know, they're trying to engage audiences online. Parks and Rec, quick shout out, like they did a great job. Like I was super sad when like we heard that they wouldn't be doing their like outdoor shows, just because it's such a phenomenal show. The energy is so great, even though they're like battled, like there's like this genuine respect for everybody at that event. It's so great, and I was super sad, but Parks and Rec, like they really pivoted like super well, and even though like they couldn't be in the community, like a lot of their programming is still serving the community. They did like dance classes or dance tutorials on their Instagram, and it's available on their Instagram still for folks to see. But do you find that with artists being engaged on like virtual platforms, do you find that like that's a source of inspiration for you or for like artists that you work with?
It is. It's really good to see all the artists using the virtual platform to like create something out of nothing again. Like how hip hop started. You know, it's like you're just creating new outlets, and I see everyone being really creative now, and it's so refreshing to see because it's giving you perspective. So it's you in like a general sense, but like it's giving everyone a perspective that you normally don't see outside of a pandemic, because everyone's so caught up in the 9 to 5 day of living that you miss all these other things. And because of the situation, everyone's put into this mindset to create something, and people are utilizing this time now, which I feel I love it. Like they're utilizing the time to get creative, to do the things that they've always wanted to do. I know we can't travel, but people are still taking road trips and whatnot, and hopefully being safe. But also, like, they're being active. They're like the bike pandemic. It's a bike pandemic. Come on. There's like no bikes around. Everyone's bought bikes. There are no dogs. There are a lot of dogs that are gone from the shelters because people are fostering them or adopting them, which is amazing. That's like our dog was adopted as well. Like, people are starting to use the other part of their brain that wasn't so programmed during the regular days of, getting up, going to work, coming home, cooking dinner, going to bed, repeat, so but I feel like being virtual, like, to me it was daunting. I would always compare my stuff to people that I would see online, so for me it was a little bit different. I would always use it as a means to like compare myself and be like, oh, I'm not that good, maybe I shouldn't do this. So I was being a negative Nancy in that essence. But now that so many people are doing it, it's kind of shifted, and I'm like seeing everyone being so productive and creative, and it's getting me inspired again, instead of being so negative, and seeing it as like a way to put myself down and my stuff down. So I'm looking at these and being like, my peers are doing all this stuff, and I'm like, this is so cool. I need to keep doing this stuff too. So it definitely is like push in a good direction, even though it's very different. Us being virtual and not being face to face or like in close proximity of each other, we can still do this and still make it work. People are finding ways to make things work and be creative, and it's just refreshing to see. So I love it.
Pandemic silver lining.
Really?
Right? Seriously.
Yeah.
I think like just we as people in pandemic, we have found an odd way to assimilate to it, even though it's just so abnormal. It's just no one has ever been used to something like this.
No.
And like you even said, it's the practice of making new habits and new ways of life for yourself to get by. How do you think that's implemented into your practice? Do you think that things have changed substantially since COVID? Do you think that your practice is going to go back to the way it was, or back to normal, so to speak? Or do you think these new habits in your practice are going to be implemented into the future?
I think definitely like these new practices are going to be what the new norm would be. Like, our old norm is always going to be there, and it was a comfort zone thing, right? We're beings of comfort. So I feel like once we get comfortable with this and this becomes our new norm, like, this can be, it doesn't have to be, but it can be one outlet that you can use and not have to be so afraid of it and have to worry so much about the outcome or whatever of what's happening with the virtual or the normality of post-pandemic. Like me and the guys, we get together every Thursday. We throw down, we session. We're all 40-year-old dudes that, like, we don't get down to like battle everybody anymore. You know what I mean? Like, we get down because we love the art of it and we love the feeling of just letting go. So every Thursdays for like the past, I don't know how many years it's been, every Thursday we were always, you get together, get down, hang out after. It's like a boys' night, but not really a boys' night. Since the pandemic, we did the same thing. Every Thursday, get Zoom on, we all get together, we do the same thing. So we're creating a new norm, even though it's familiar to us. It's still the same time, still the same people, and we're still doing the same thing. But it's now in a different scenario. But who's to say that, like, when this is all over, that can't be a norm? Obviously, for us as dancers, as street dancers especially, we feed off of each other's energy. So it's a lot more of a gathering thing that makes us, go off. I feel like there are some practices during this pandemic that will definitely stick with me as a regular practice. And then there are some things where I'm like, no, as far as like a dance community, as far as dance as an art, I mean, it's not limited to anything, but for us as you know, as a b-boy, as a cipher driven dancer, like we feed off of that energy. So I feel like once this is over, the normality of Zoom for a street dancer in particular, will go back to the norm pre-pandemic, but post-pandemic, I feel like new things can arrive from it and blow up from it, you know. So there are a lot of pluses and minuses. There's definitely like a lot that people are missing from being away from each other, but you know, we're creating new habits, like we said.
I think we're like super eager to like be back in the park and watch the dance battles, you know, and see dancers in the park. And hopefully like from this pandemic, like the higher ups in government and the officials that are making the decisions, they really like see how much like people need the parks and how much they need artists in the parks. So hopefully that's something that'll come out of this, you know, a newfound appreciation for artists and all the hard work that they really do to keep people engaged, like with their community or with themselves. You know, like art is so important, and it really does like impact the health of communities. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, thank you so much for being here today and talking to us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Hopefully I you know, didn't take up too much of the speaking time.
We want to hear you speak, Jesse.
Yes, it was a pleasure hearing you talk. We have Jesse's link to his Instagram, like in the bio. Go check him out. Go to Parks and Rec and check out his Rolling With video. Yeah, thank you again so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm very appreciative of the time that you guys have taken out of your day to come talk with me.